Welcome to Ladies Talking Leafs. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And we're starting out the show today with a huge congratulations to Toronto Marlies goaltender Artur Akhtiamov, who was named to the 2026 American Hockey League All-Star team. Woohoo! And the AHL All-Star festivities take place from February 10th to the 11th in Rockford, Illinois this year.
This is Akhtiamov's first appearance as an AHL All-Star, and it makes a fourth straight year that a Marlies goaltender has been selected for the All-Star Classic. So Joseph Woll was selected in 2023. Dennis Hildeby represented the Marlies for 2023-24 and 24-25.
Yeah.
So, it's... I think we're looking pretty good for depth in goal, which it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. And kudos to him for getting this call to the All-Star game. It's really great for him.
Yeah. And it really, like you said, it gives us that depth. And I don't know what Anthony Stolarz is going to be coming back now into the Leafs goaltending situation. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Hildeby. And I mean, Stolarz has to play better, obviously, than what he was before he was out. It's been since November 11th, too, that he's been out. And a lot of people are saying with all this depth in goal, like maybe that's the trade possibility there. But then insiders like Chris Johnston and Darren Dreger were saying that if anything, it's not going to be until the summertime, I guess, for if anything happens that way, because of the fact Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz both get injured quite frequently, you are better off like keeping them for now and for this season anyways, and having that depth there in case something happens, and having Hildeby there. And then Akhtiamov, he was called up already once this year, right? And played a little bit. I think he got into the late in one of the games. He was the called for. I think it was somebody got injured. I think in that game. Anyhow,
yeah.
I
think it was when Woll got hurt, he tweaked something or whatever. That's the time when he wasn't out very long.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, if they did that, they would have to do it before the free agent period starts, because I think that's when Stolar's new deal kicks in, which has a no move in it, I believe.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So
another no move. Yay.
Yeah. Or I don't know if it's like a total no move, or like
probably
just certain
few teams. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so they would have to kind of do something quickly there. But, like you said, we don't have a lot of things to trade. Like, it's either trade our depth where we have it, or trade, our young prospects, which those are in short supply.
Yeah, we can't do that.
We can't do that. So, anyway, we'll see what happens there. But for now, we're pretty stacked back there.
Yeah.
And
the benefit is Hildeby can go down because like if they do decide to go that route, he can go down. He doesn't have to clear waivers or anything. So that's a good.
I know that kind of sucks, because you do so well, and that's the crap thing about the cap situation for all teams, is that it's not by merit whether you go up or down. In a lot of cases, it's just got to do with dollars. So
and Hildeby, like his stats now, like 18 games, including the game versus the Jets last night. He's 5-6-4, and because he's played 18 games, but he's only had 13 as a starter. So he came in relief, I guess, of Woll and Stolarz probably in the beginning of the season. And and he has a 9-10 save percentage. So, I mean, that's pretty good. But he's young, so he can go up and down between here and the Marlies, and it's probably going to be that way, depending on how Stolarz does. I think Stolarz, they'll have to send him down, or they should, for a conditioning stint as well.
Yeah. All right. So a quick reminder for our segment, Leaf It to the Ladies. We received quite a few comments on our social media, and we love hearing from our fans on our posts, but it would be great if you could leave us those comments in a voice message and leave it to the ladies. The exciting part for you is that your thoughts will be in your own voice, and that could be highlighted on our show. So look out for the Leaf It to the Ladies link in our show notes or wherever you listen or watch the show. And you can also find the link in any of our social media profile pages as well. So now it's time to get into the show, and we're going to start off with a segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then for a third period segment, we welcome to the show author and broadcaster, Sportsnet's Ken Reid. So without any further ado, let's talk Leafs.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. First edition for 2026. Exciting. Okay, my good is Scott Laughton. I love this guy.
You kind of stole my thunder there because that's what I was gonna go for as well. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyways, we can keep going with this.
We will discuss.
Yeah. But I mean, the guy has fire. He's just.
He has the passion.
He has the passion versus the Jets. I loved it when he went after that Gabriel Velarde, I think it was, who basically did
embellished. Is a nice way of putting it.
That's the word. He embellished the high stick, and he even went at Jonathan Toews too, because I think Toews was wondering what the hell is he mad about, and he was just livid. He just wanted to get at somebody, and I mean. His faceoff percentage versus Philadelphia, he won 19 of 20 faceoffs that night. That was insane on his former team. But his faceoff win percent right now in the game so far is at 59.8%. That's like incredible. He only plays. It's the only thing downside on Craig Berube. He's only playing like less than 14 minutes a night average ice time, so it's 13:41. And his play on the PK with Steven Lorentz. That tandem there, those two guys, they're awesome on the PK. I mean, it's great. And that's a lot of the reason I think. I know our PK has been good all year, but now it's in second in the league at 84.3%. And finally, we have to sign this guy. We have to get this guy signed. He's a UFA at the end of the year, and he needs to stay here because he's the glue guy, and he's just awesome. I love him. He's my type of player. I
think he's probably the type of player of most of Leafs Nation because that's the type of guy that we seem to gravitate to. I can't disagree with any of the things that you said because I think he is the straw that stirs the drink. He is the spark. Really, that moment you were talking about. And the time that happened, I was kind of concerned that we were not gonna win that game last night. And who knows if that is the spark, but it very well could have been the spark that basically turned things around a little bit for our team. We don't have enough guys that are emotional like that.
Yeah.
And you need emotion in this game. Emotion, especially I know we're going to see in the playoffs, but in the playoffs, emotional moments are what turn the tide. We saw that so many times where, a guy like Dougie or Wendell, they were emotional players and they could turn a game on a dime with these kinds of moments.
And his slap shot is great, right? That's the part of his game, right? At the slap shot, he has 2 shorthanded goals. And I mean, sometimes it's not about the points too, right? You just need, you're saying, the guy that has that drive or that passion, to just fire up everybody, right? And get the guy. He's always on the bench. I always see him he's always saying things, talking to the guys, and and I can imagine in the dressing room, it's probably insane that way too. But but Scott Laughton, he's good. I debated, actually. I have to say that going back to what we said at the beginning, I thought you were going to choose OEL because I was debating.
I mean,
Because
there's a few people that could have made this list.
Yeah, because I was debating between Laughton and OEL, but I took Laughton.
Yeah. Well, I actually chose somebody different, and it's somebody who's been showing a little bit more passion. Again, somebody that we haven't seen that from for a while, but more consistently, he's showing his true colors, and that's Auston Matthews. In the last 5 games, he's had 6 points. The 2 bad games where he wasn't great defensively was maybe against Vegas and Utah. But for the most part, he's been playing really well defensively. Goals, assists, he's been all over the ice. And I've also liked the leadership he's been showing, like especially in that Vegas game when Mark Masters was talking to him about Mitch Marner again before the game. And he just kind of said that he's had enough of those questions and directed questions back to the game at hand. I actually really loved seeing that, that they're buddies and all of that. And Mitch talked all about that in his little pressers with whoever he would allow to speak to him. But Auston didn't want to talk about that. He's all about the game and all about the team. And you love to see that. And I'm liking that his celebrations are looking a little bit more like his usual self.
Yeah. Fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that he definitely is back, and we're going to need him.
That shot he had last night too, versus with the Jets. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I was just like, bring that more often for the rest of the season. Maybe not with Team USA, but but bring it for us for the Leafs
too. Like in overtime to Domi was incredible. Like that's the one thing that he and Nylander both have is their sense of timing is impeccable. Like they just know how long to hold on to that puck for however many extra seconds to get that perfect pass, and also to mess with the goaltender because they just somehow, I don't know, it's really incredible to watch, when they're on like that. So anyway, so Auston, I'm happy with his game right now. And so
you mentioned the defensive part of it on those 2 games, but I mean that Utah game, everybody was not good.
Yeah, no, it was not good.
And the other one was,
he wasn't even horrible. He was just a -1 in that game. So
but the other one versus Vegas that everyone keeps talking about is the fact like he was way back behind Eichel, like that was his guy, I guess, who ended up scoring in the OT, and he was like but I mean the shift he was on. He was already over 2 minutes on that shift. How the hell at least he was skating back. Like, I don't know. Some people, whatever, they don't realize the intensity or the amount of strength. Like someone else said this, like you go out there and try and come back like that, like to catch a guy like Jack Eichel when you've already played 2 minutes of a hard shift and to try and get back and check him. So well, I had no problem.
Some of that is coaching related, it's like personnel decisions and who you're putting out there against who the opponents are, like, and I don't know. So basically I think they need to work on their 3-on-3 setup a little bit because, I thought it was better against Winnipeg, the pairs that they had going out there and their defensive partners. And it worked out for us. So I think some of that they kind of have to look at and have a better game plan. Yeah. Especially if we're going to end up going into so many of these, because I think we've had we're second in the amount of overtime wins even. So
really? Oh, okay.
To Vegas. Yeah. I think we're tied with another team, but
because Vegas has a lot. I know that
they're the most. Yeah,
they're definitely at the top. Yeah. All right. So moving on to the bad now. The bad is the lack of depth on the D. We're kind of flip flopping on this because at the beginning of the season we thought it was we thought it was fantastic, but I mean with Simon Benoit out for the last few games now, I don't know. He has an upper body injury. Not sure what's going on there, but I don't know. They keep playing Philip Myers, and they got to give somebody else a chance from the Marlies. Like, I mean, I don't know who it is. If it's Dakota Mermis, I know he didn't have a good game, but
is Mermis back now after his injury?
Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
He's with the Marlies, and I don't know, like somebody else, because
maybe they don't think he's ready to come back quite yet.
Maybe.
But even I know people have been mentioning, like bringing up, like, for example, Matt Benning. He's got NHL games under his belt, so experience.
Yeah, because because McCabe is playing too much. Like, he's playing good, but sometimes he makes the mistake, and you think, like, why? But it's because mentally he's probably exhausted, like being played so many minutes, and I don't understand.
And some of the situations like that are happening on the back-to-backs because they're playing so many games right now. So the real stinkers, like that one against Utah, he did not look good on some of those goals, which is unusual for him. But he is not the youngest guy out there anymore, as well. So they need time to recover.
Yeah, and he takes a beating too.
He does.
With the block shots and everything.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't have his regular partner in Tanev, and we're not going to get him back probably this season. I don't know what's going on there. And they seem to be flip-flopping with, like, Riley's played better lately. And just like our last guest on our last show, Anthony Stewart said, right? Like, he's making things simple, but then Berube's putting Myers with Riley, that's a bad pairing. Like, they should not be playing together. I have no idea why they did that. They should be putting Carlo with Riley. They seem to be steady there. And put Stetcher with McCabe, and OEL and somebody else, not Philip Myers. I don't know who, but I just somebody else. So it'll be interesting to see if, because Benoit is at, like, how much longer he is out, like, because he's not great, but at least he's much better than Philip Myers, I think. Personally.
Yeah, he's, I think, more consistent in his game.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
He brings more. He doesn't have a shot. The only thing that Philip Myers I've liked is that he has the shot. Right?
Yeah,
like, he does have a good shot.
He can score too. So
yeah. But
we have seen that in the past.
I don't know. This is a bit of an issue, but the good thing is, I heard today that apparently the Leafs are out on that. What's the guy's name?
Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah, Rasmus Anderson. They're not in the running anymore. Apparently, it's the Bruins and somebody else. I forget who the other team was.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, but as long as we're not in it, because I don't want us to be giving up a fortune for something like that. No.
I think and our guest later on in the third period probably will talk about this. There's reasons why the Leafs depth is the way it is.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right. So my bad is, and I hate to bring this person up as a bad, because I do love him, but he's definitely in a little bit of a rut right now, and that's Matthew Knies. I was looking at his last 5 games, and it's a lot of zeros in there.
For 7.75 million per year.
It's a lot of zeros and minuses, which is not good. Interestingly, the Vegas game, he had 2 points in that game because he had 2 assists, and he was even. So one of the few guys probably. But for the most part, in these last 5 games, he is not even registered on the scoreboard at all. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if it's the fact that, what we're going to talk about in a second. There's a certain person who's normally on his line that's out, and if that is affecting him, but he has to find a way to produce his own offense.
I think too, it's because he was on the line with Matthews. Like, he was up top, and now, like, McMahon's taken that spot.
Yeah.
He's down with JT. But being JT and Willie are normally, and Nylander are obviously better together, and then to add Knies into that picture. But I just don't think that Matthew Knies has adjusted well to being on the line with John Tavares.
But the thing is, as a young guy in this league, like, you have to find your way to produce. You can't you can't be relying on other people to make you better. You have to make yourself better. You have to, adjust to these things. And I don't know. I mean, this is like only his, I guess, this probably is only second full year, third full year.
And his third. Yeah. Third.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's still a bit of adjustment there in the amount of games being played. And so it'd be natural for him to kind of be in a bit of a rut at this stage. But the other thing that hurts him too is the amount of power plays that we don't get. Well,
he's not on power play 1 anymore because Michelli is on there
because of the injuries. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That hurts him, obviously.
So that hurts him too. So
yeah. And the other thing is, I do think he's dealing with something. He missed the practice on Thursday morning before the game versus Vegas.
Yeah.
It was maintenance, apparently.
Yeah.
So as everyone is dealing with something with this whole condensed schedule, Matthew Knies, I think, is also dealing with something, and the break, I think, is going to help
a lot of people. I was just going to say that. I said, I'm going to, because hopefully when they come back from that, like, I don't know how much time they actually get off during that time. Like, but coming back and just, getting yourself reset, relaxed, and,
not too many margaritas, hopefully, right?
Yeah, but, probably not a good idea to overdo it with that. But if he is dealing with something, that makes sense, obviously. But he's just been kind of invisible to me and not noticeable. Like, you just don't get that pop where you normally notice him on the ice, So, yeah.
All right. Well, truth be told, I was going to choose him before I went to the lack of depth on the D. So I maybe I think you said that you were going to choose the D, but I don't know. Anyways, that's well. All right, moving on. Over to the ugly. This is kind of a strange ugly, but it's Willie's injury, basically. William Nylander's injury. I'm concerned because he missed the 6 games from December 28th to January 8th. Now with just that little tweak, and it wasn't even, you could barely notice it in Vegas. Like, I mean, that was the type of game where, like, everybody was talking about Matthews and Marner, and that's the type of game where I think too, like, he would have shone in that game.
Well, he did in the short period of time he was on the ice.
For the few minutes that he was part of it.
Honestly, if he played that whole game, we win that game.
Yes. Yeah.
I have no doubt.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because it put everything else in flux after when he left. And I thought that he and Auston were going to go off that night for sure. Yeah.
And he just, I guess, I'm just really worried with him now aggravating that. And he wants to play in the Olympics, definitely, like with Team Sweden. But I don't know. I don't know if and that, however, that rink is being built, and if it's actually going to be,
that ice is going to be good.
Yeah.
Like from what I've heard, it sounds like it's a groin injury, which explains why he could tweak it so easily. Like,
right,
that is something that takes a long time to heal, and you could feel okay, and then something like that can mess you up. And then if you go and play on crap ice. Yeah. Like with ruts and stuff, and if it's not good, then you can easily easily re-injure yourself. But I mean, it's so funny because he's usually such a resilient guy. Like, he's very, very, dependable that way. Like, it's just that one time with the either concussion, migraines, whatever. During the playoffs a couple years ago, but for the most part, like, he doesn't get hurt a lot. Yeah. So we're accustomed to seeing him out there all the time. So,
and he just makes a difference, like we were talking about with Auston Matthews in OT, like, just to have Willie as
the finisher,
the next guy coming out, or the finisher, whatever. Like, it's something that other teams have to worry about a lot. When William Nylander is on the ice, and not having him there is just a huge loss for us. I mean, we can manage, obviously, the team can manage, but they have to work a lot harder.
Well, yeah, and it's like a lot harder for them to put together multiple games, like that game against Colorado, for example. He didn't play in that game,
right?
And they were really, really great. Like the whole team, it was a full team effort.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
it's hard to piece together multiple games like that, you know? So, yeah.
I don't know. So that, to me, I'm just worried about him going over to the Olympics there, and because we need him down the stretch when they come back. And I mean, I don't know if I trust the Swedish medical staff there to take care of our star players, even with OEL. I mean, he's been playing he's left some games briefly for short amounts of time.
Tough as nails, though, that guy.
Yeah.
I'm so amazed at how great he is that way. He's so tough.
Yeah, so anyhow, we'll see what happens. I'm just a little bit concerned with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were talking about the lack of depth on D, and good scouting is key to building player depth in an organization. So for our third period segment, we're going to find out more about the role of hockey scouts with Sportsnet's Ken Reid, who is the author of the book, The Next One, Hockey Scouts, Remote Rinks and Hidden Talent.
We're thrilled to welcome to our show someone we invite into our homes every evening, a familiar face to all Canadian sports fans, hockey historian, author, and broadcaster, Sportsnet's Ken Reid.
So Ken is the co-host of Canada's most watched sports news program, the primetime edition of Sportsnet Central. He's also a prolific author and storyteller, having penned, I think, 8 books now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
8 is right.
8 is right. Okay. About the game we love, which of course is hockey. His newest book, The Next One, is out now, and Ken is here to tell us all about it and, of course, talk a little Leafs with us as well. So thanks for joining us today, Ken.
My pleasure. And you guys nailed the intro because everyone always gets the number of books wrong. So way to go.
Oh,
You're one for one so far.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah. You're doing better than the Leafs.
Well, I think probably people might miss the Eddie Shack one, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
And of course, when I was growing up, that was one of my dad's favorite players. So I noticed that right away, and I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. You have a book on Eddie Shack. So
that was fun. Eddie was Eddie. That's the only way I can describe him. He's the original.
Yeah. That's for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have liked you guys, right?
Oh, that would have been a fun interview.
Yeah. I met him the one time at the alumni lunch, so it was fun. It was fun to have the honor to meet him. So it was. He was funny.
Oh yeah, that's a polite way to put it. Yeah, Eddie was his own man. He was what you saw was what you got, and he didn't. He didn't change whether the Queen was in the room or anybody else was in the room. He was honest, and it was great to get to know him. And I think we got that book finished, and he passed not long after it was published. So it was nice to give him kind of a final hurrah, get him out in front of the media again, because he truly liked that. He liked the lights and cameras. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the I guess the luncheon that I was at, he told off Bobby Bond, so he would just.
That's on par.
Yeah,
that's on par.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into your new book right off the top, and congratulations on
Thank
it.
you.
And your new book, The Next One, is a true celebration of the scouts behind the scenes, traveling rink to rink, most of whom we rarely get to know. One question I have is about the competitiveness of scouting. That's what I got, I guess, from at the start of the book. As fans, we don't know really what's going on in the background when scouts are watching players. And from your discussions with those you interviewed and in writing the book, how competitive is it in scouting today? And I guess the second question is, what does it take to make your mark at a high level? What do you think?
I would say super competitive. I've actually been talking to a couple scouts here in Moncton. At Hockey Day in Canada, Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada in Moncton. There's a couple scouts around because Wildcats are playing Chicoutimi this weekend. A couple pretty good teams. And yeah, it's competitive, but it's very cordial. It's almost like how lower rung golfers will split the drive together sometimes to some events, but you still want to beat the guy, right? You're not going to tell them all your trade secrets. You're going to talk about golf, and scouts are always going to talk about players with each other, but they're not going to give anybody their list. They're not going to give anybody any inside knowledge they know, but they're always going to talk about the game. And the reason they talk about the game so much and the reason they scout is because they absolutely love the game. This is not something you can dare fake your way through. Like, you can't fake your way through sitting through 4 minor midget games back to back at the Silver Stick. So super competitive, but also I think very respectful, which I like.
So then, like, just to go on top of that, like, the guys that are doing it at such a high level, like, from all the different people that you talk to, like, what is kind of like the common denominator with those guys, do you think?
I think the best, well, first off, the love of the game. That goes without saying, but I think they are all good listeners. And one of the scouts in the book tells me we listen with our ears and we listen with our eyes, which I thought was quite brilliant. They're all great listeners in the sense, very thorough. Like, nobody looks at the movies all think you show up and you see a guy on the river skating and he's awesome. And, oh my God, I just discovered the next great thing. It doesn't work like that. The way it works is you watch somebody, you watch them over and over. The magic number with most scouts seems to be they have to see somebody at least 6 times. But they all share a passion for the game and they all listen very well. And most of them are also very passionate about the players they believe in. Like, scout fights, from what I hear inside the room and the meetings, are pretty awesome. And there's a story in the book about some father and son scouts, Brad and Lauren Davis, and the guys in the Oilers staff would say the best fights were Davis against Davis over players. So I think what they all share is passion and the ability to listen. And listening is often, you have to learn how to listen, and that's in the book as well.
Yeah, no, Brad Davis' story, the reason why I came up with the competitiveness question was, too, I thought it was funny about how, I guess it was Jeff Petrie, I think it was, that the Oilers chose 45th overall. And then, but I think the Red Wings scout, like, wanted that, or was looking at Petrie as well, and they had the next pick. And then he once the Oilers picked him, they had the flip phone then, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, the flip phone,
greatest or whatever. Yeah. And the only message on there, it just said "F you." From the Detroit, that was
from the table over.
Like geez.
Yeah, they're competing for players. I think it was "F you" in the kind of a wink kind of way, with a wink, like, you got them. Yeah. But they definitely, most of them do respect each other, and I mean, it's kind of like it's weird because you're all in the same game that you love, but you're all going to love your team more, right? So you want to beat everybody, but I think it's a healthy competition. But that was a good tactic back in the early days for sure.
All right, so you open your book with a chapter on someone that's going to be very recognizable to Leaf fans, especially of a certain age, and that's Jerry McNamara. You had the chance to discuss his career with him, and of course, his most famous recruit, at least we think so, Borje Salming. His acquisition of Salming, and of course, Inge Hammarström had a huge impact on the NHL, we think, and also the league's future direction, even if it wasn't truly recognized at the time. In your opinion, what was it about McNamara's approach that enabled him to kind of not only take notice of these young Swedes, but to also be able to envision their future success in the NHL?
An open mind and a knowledge of the game. Because Jerry, when he went to Sweden in 1972 to see Inge Hammarström, and then Borje Salming popped on his radar, the Leafs and Jerry had to have an open mind, because who was going to Sweden then? The answer is no one, pretty much no one. Jerry had the whole country to himself. Think about that. There's not a corner of the world that's not scouted now. So Jerry shows up in Sweden. There's not a single other NHL scout there. And the reason there's no other NHL scouts there is because they're going, well, who would want to scout in Sweden? What good are Swedish players? So what made things work for Jerry, I think, is he had to have an open mind, first off. He had to think outside the box and think there must be something to hockey in Sweden. I mean, look what just happened with the Russia on the heels of the 72 series. Canada had played the Swedish national team twice in exhibitions. As part of that as well that a lot of people don't know about. So they had to have an open mind to go there. And then when he went there, he had to, figure out who was who. And when he saw Borje, he knew. It kind of goes against what I just say that, like, the movie is you see the guy once and it works. Well, I guess in this case it did for.
That's the case when it did. Yeah.
Like, that doesn't work these days, but it did then. Like, I think the scouting world was a little more of a fantasy world and a little more innocent back in the day, where every corner of the world wasn't combed over, whereas here it is. But Jerry had a great open mind, and Jerry had to trust. He had to trust when it comes to each player. Jerry had to trust two people. He had to trust Borja, and he had to trust himself, because he takes Borja and Inge Hammerstrom back to Toronto, and everyone's going, "Well, you better be right, Jerry. You better be right, Jerry." Jerry was right. And the other thing about Jerry McNamara, I think that aged well. He was the GM of the Leafs during the horrible 80s, right? The decade of darkness, or whatever you want to call it. Ballard's going all over the place. Look at the players Jerry McNamara drafted in the 1980s. It is disgustingly good. I'm talking Russ Cornell, Al Frady, Steve Thomas, Wendell Clark. I mean, go down the list. They were all drafted by Jerry. His drafts have aged very, very well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. And with his story, how he said because he was a goalie and how he saw the ice, that's what he thought was, I guess, helped him to become a better scout, or to become a scout of players. So that I think was interesting.
Because he's an observer of the game, and there's a couple other goalies in the book as well, and it makes so much sense. And look how many goalies go into broadcasting, right? And because they are observers of the game. When you're a goalie, you should not take your eye off the game.
Kind of like baseball catchers too. They have the best perspective, right?
Yep. How many of them become managers? Exactly. Because as a goalie, you have to be in on every play, and as the catcher, you have to be in on every pitch.
So, unfortunately, he passed not long ago. So did he get to see any of the copy of your book, or you were probably one of the last people to get to interview him, right?
Yeah, I was lucky. So I ended up dedicating he's one of the people the book was dedicated to, and I was lucky enough to give lovely wife a copy of the book. So that at Paul's alumni lunch, which was really cool to do. And I was like, I love the game so much, and I like to shine a light what's good about the game. And Jerry is one of those things and people that was good about the game. So I was happy to get that story told.
Yeah, we're happy about it too.
Yeah, and the other stuff, the other stuff's important too, right? The serious, hard hitting journalism. I love that too. It's just, I think I found my lane, kind of where I found my lane. No, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, you really are able to weave the fabric of what this game means to Canadians, on that level, and all these subtle nuances. And I think that it's just so much community and unity. And this is basically this is common ground for so many of us. And
thanks,
right
Phil.
now,
Wow, you're
important.
You're going on my Christmas card list. That's super kind of you.
Awesome.
It's where I'm from. It's the way I've always looked at the game. I've always been a hockey romantic. I will never bore somebody. I'm not obsessed with numbers. My wife always says, she's a former TV anchor reporter. She always says people don't remember numbers, they remember stories. And I love telling stories. And one of my favorite thing about writing a book is the interview process, and then going from the interview process and go, okay, how do I weave all these questions into an understandable story? So that's where I think is the art and all of it, and that's the fun part for me. I mean, there's the editing process is not fun, and figuring out where a semicolon goes is not fun. But I like the process of storytelling, so I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the just for the audience there too, that I'm sure you watched it, the story of Borja, I guess it was I think it was 6 parts.
It's great.
It's really worth it. I would highly recommend that to fans out there if they haven't seen it, to watch the film Borja.
Jason Priestley is Borja Salming, and Jerry's only complaint was Jason was a little too short, but he said just as handsome. So there you go.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go on to the Leafs now a little bit because we are a Leafs show. So, in your evening gig on Sportsnet Central, you cover stories surrounding the Maple Leafs, and this past summer, none was bigger than the departure of Mitch Marner to Vegas in a sign-and trade. What turned out to be a sign-and trade. It may be an obvious question, but since the Leafs played Vegas last night, of course, and Marner will make his return to Toronto next Friday, we're going to ask you, what do you think was was it the best thing for the Leafs and Mitch Marner that he made the decision to move on to play for another team? Do you think like that whole core four thing just had to end, or
it had to end. I don't know if it was the best decision. I think it had to end because of, I hate being the guy that says there's too much pressure playing in Toronto, because I don't think there is, but it got to the point where they couldn't get over the hump. The four of them couldn't get over the hump. So I don't know if it had to, but I think we all knew that it would. I think we all knew something was going to give. And if you look at the way Auston Matthews scores his goals now, it definitely hasn't helped Auston Matthews. Steve Balakat was on Real Kipper and Born one day, and he was just going into the deep dive numbers. Again, I'm not very good at remember numbers, but the amount of one-time goals Matthews would score from the off-wing, courtesy Marner, and those chances just aren't there anymore. So it's definitely impacted the Leafs. It's definitely impacted Marner. But it's weird when you look at the standings and Marner's individual numbers. It doesn't kind of make sense where both teams are sitting. But I think it was probably best that everybody go their separate ways. But I think if Mitch Marner stayed, the Maple Leafs would be a much better team right now in the regular season. But I don't know if they'd be a better team in the playoffs, if that makes sense. My gripe with the Leafs has always been they were built for the regular season. They were a fantasy team, but they were not built for the playoffs. Last year, I really liked them. I thought they were totally built for the playoffs. This year, I think it's more of a wait and see right now. But again, they're 2 points out of the playoffs right now. But I still think they get in. They're part of that logjam, but I still think they get in.
So you just ruined our last question.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was going to ask. Well, yes or no? Are they going to get in? So that's it. We now you know your answer.
Yeah, I've been known to talk.
What do you think of what? Yeah, but what do you think of the whole idea about the media pressure? Because you're in media, obviously the media pressure. That's what.
I don't buy it. It's funny. I talk to lots of ex-players, and they say it's shocking when you go to Toronto and how many media there is. But I'm telling you, I don't think there's these days. I think the pressure is more from social media and what that brings. And to me, social media is garbage. I can't stand it. But when you're playing on the Leafs, they're going to cart 3 guys out after every game. There's a certain number of reporters. Back in the day, you'd walk into a room and guys would be sitting there. You could talk to anybody. So the players are kept in a bubble. I think if they didn't keep the players in such a bubble, they would think it's actually not that bad. So if you went into the Leafs room after every game and let's say 15 of the guys are still sitting there, everything would get spread around. They used to teach us in media schools, go away from the scrum, right? There's a scrum going on. Go talk to somebody outside of the scrum. Well, now you have no choice because post-COVID, the way it works is they figured during COVID, they could get away with only sending a few guys out. So now that's the norm. That was never the norm before. So to me, there's no pressure. There's always pressure, but it's not enormous pressure from the media in Toronto. Try playing in Montreal where you got to do it in both French and English. And they maybe are like that. To me, that's more pressure. I worked in Edmonton. They were hard on their players. So I don't think there's pressure in Toronto, but I think if you want to make that feel like it's pressure, then it's going to be an excuse, right? If you're a player and you want to buy into that, then it's going to hurt you. But I think if you're a player and you're just like, hey, this is an honor that this many people care about us, then I think you can make it a good thing. So I think people that talk about media pressure in Toronto just aren't necessarily handling it the correct way. If outlets start saying things about you off the ice, that's an issue. I have an issue with that. Like, to me, the game is played in the arena. That's where things should stay. But the way the world works now, it's not always that way. And I think that's unfair to players, no matter what team they're on. But I don't buy into the whole media pressure thing playing in Toronto at all.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good way to put it. And I mean, there's a difference too between pressure and volume, because we have a high volume of people that want to speak to people here. Yeah. And that's a really big difference. Yeah. So is it pressure when you're asked the same question maybe 5 different times in different ways? Like, I don't know.
Annoying.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Right?
It's annoying. It's annoying, but I don't think it's pressure. But if you choose to take that as pressure, I think that's your choice. But is it annoying being asked about a game against Mitch Marner over and over again? Probably. But is it also a privilege and a great opportunity that so many people care? I think it is. I think it's all in how you spin it. But listen, I probably didn't think quite that wisely when I was in my 20s, but maybe now with a little perspective I do. But also when you play for the Leafs, man, you play a season, you're a Leaf for life. So it's going to help you later in life. So to me, it's it would be an honor, and you just got to try to spin it around to make it a positive and not a negative. But I think if you make it a negative, that's your choice.
Yeah. All right. So we know that you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, and we still invited you on anyway.
Can you? I don't know if I've ever publicly said that. So there you go.
Oh, are we outing you? I hope not. Anyways,
so I think we just had breaking news here. Yeah, I grew up. I'll be honest. I grew up a massive Montreal Canadiens fan. I've said this before. Head to toe, decked out in Habs gear. My fandom doesn't really exist anymore. The game, being around the game being around the game for so long. But having said that, if push came to shove, who wouldn't want to see the Habs win a cup other than your entire audience?
Yeah. Absolutely. So we wanted to ask you about this young Montreal club. So do you see any similarities between the current crop of Canadiens and the Leafs of, say, a decade ago when Toronto's young stars were just kind of starting their careers?
Awesome question. Yes, the parallels are there. It is the question is, what do the Canadiens do with this opportunity? Because I think the Leafs kind of squandered it. I don't recall the Leafs power play unit being as exciting as the Canadiens unit is. I think the biggest thing the Canadiens have going for it is, I would say, the best player amongst their 4 or 5 young guys to me is a defenseman, and it's Lane Hutson. For me, the Leafs have never had that top number 1 defenseman in ages. Like, to me, that's an issue. Morgan Rielly, to me, is not he's not a number 1. He's a 3 or a 2, but he's not a number 1. That's not saying he's not a fantastic hockey player, but he is. To me, you have to be built down the middle, center, defense, and goaltending. And the Leafs have never had that number 1 D. So I think that's what's working in the Habs' favor on that. And then aside from Hutson, you also have Noah Dobson, to me, who just kind of slips under the radar, and he can just kind of play more of his game. He doesn't have that number 1 pressure on him. I think that helps. But yes, the similarities are there. The question is, what do you do with it? Because remember, there was once a time when we used to debate who's better, Patrick Laine or Auston Matthews. We used to debate that. Well, Auston Matthews slam dunk. But yeah, the Habs are young and they're exciting. The power play might be the best thing on TV outside of the Edmonton Oilers power play. So yeah, the comparisons are pretty natural. I think the big difference for the Habs is they didn't have to go through too many years of misery. Remember, they were in a cup final and all that long ago, be it was a COVID final and all that. But yeah, the similarities are there for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's the other. I was going to say, there is a little bit of an excuse for the Leafs there, because we did have COVID come in, and that's the whole thing with the salary cap. That
timing's everything.
Yes,
timing is everything.
It's everything. Yeah, there was that, and when you were saying, I totally forgot that they made it to the cup final in that COVID year.
That's trauma. That's that's Leaf trauma.
Sorry, bring that up.
We're forgetting that. I was actually thinking of going back to 93.
Yeah,
right? And
last cup win.
Back to 9. Yeah, and when we actually should have been the cup winner except for Wayne Gretzky ruining it all. But anyways,
I remember being a Canadiens fan and laughing, going, the Leafs made a conference final and they're putting out a VHS tape about it. My team just won the cup, so sorry. That's what I remember saying that year.
That's a good point. Good point. Well, because you just brought that up, Chris, so a follow-up though, like we recently actually took the road trip to Montreal, the game that we got lambasted there for a Leaf game. So we couldn't help but notice that the tide is definitely like moving back into the Habs' favor. And it dawned on us, actually, since it's been more than 2 decades or so since the Leafs and the Habs were relevant at the same time, like knowing the history in the league and these two teams as you do, like what do you think the NHL would gain if these two historic franchises were ever great again at the same time?
Yeah, great question. I don't know what the NHL would gain, but I know what hockey fans in Ontario and Quebec would gain, and with pockets spread across the country, obviously, it would be massive. I mean, you guys said it, Chris, like in 93, that probably should have been a Leafs Habs final. Could you imagine what that would have been like? I mean, sadly now they're in the same division. Our life
would have been so different.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, when you think about it, it kind of makes you think, I wish it was a 1/16 format in the playoffs instead of what it is now because that could possibly happen. But if I always say, and I've been saying this winter, hockey's better when the Montreal Canadiens are good, and hockey's better when the Toronto Maple Leafs are good too. Like, I want to see the Leafs have success. I want to see the Canadiens have success because they're just two fan bases who deserve it. I mean, my heart doesn't long for Utah to have a great run this year. I don't care. Or, name your franchise. Carolina, what are they going to do? Have another parade in the parking lot? Like, I'm happy for the people that are in the building, but the Leafs and the Habs, so many people are just fueled by them. So if they were both good, I guess the NHL would gain a ton because Canadian eyeballs move the needle, right?
Yeah. No, that's what we believe.
Yeah. It's the original 6 teams that really, they drive the NHL, and
to me they still do. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but
that's where the money. Yeah. That's where the money is with it, and it's kind of sad that Gary Bettman doesn't see it the same way. I guess, or the NHL. It's like they take advantage of it, basically, right? And
maybe, but they've. I mean, if it wasn't for Gary Bettman, I always say the Edmonton Oilers wouldn't be in Edmonton. Maybe Calgary wouldn't be in Calgary. Yeah. But he's made owners a lot of money. And that salary cap, when you look at salaries now in baseball and stuff like that, not the basketball, and you're like, wow, that cap, that was a big win for the league. That's for sure.
So what do you think it hasn't happened, though, for so long like that? Both these franchises have not been able to be successful together.
It's an interesting question. It's like, why hasn't a Canadian team won? And everyone's like, the pressure. And I'm like, no, not the pressure, because Canadian teams won the Cup pretty much every year after 1983 for a good 10 years or so. The Penguins were in there a couple times after the Islanders run, and then the Oilers, Flames, and Habs kept winning. I don't know what it is. There is an answer. I mean, look at all the great players the Leafs have and just had. You guys talked about the 4-4. Why couldn't they win? Why couldn't they get over the hump? Why haven't the Edmonton Oilers won yet with Connor McDavid? The pressure's too much. Well, I don't know. I watched the final last year. Edmonton didn't look like they had any more pressure on them than Florida did. Maybe in the minds of many, but like Connor McDavid couldn't get it done. Maybe obviously it's all about who's in your lineup, but yeah, it's an interesting question. It would make a great university thesis. I unfortunately am not smart enough to figure it out. But yeah, something's in the water up here. You just can't win a cup. It's not like we haven't had chances. Like, 2007, the Ottawa Senators were in the final against Anaheim. Like, people don't even remember that kind of stuff. So everyone's had their chances.
Yeah, we blur those out. We don't want to hear about Ottawa Senators or the Habs.
Right. But the crazy part is, to me, more than that a Canadian team hasn't done it, is that the Leafs haven't been in a final since 1967. That is like almost mathematically impossible. Like, that to me is
they managed to do it somehow.
Yeah, that's deep into the culture that no one's really been able to figure out yet.
Yeah, talk about starving, man.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, right. I don't know how you guys do it, but I'm glad you do it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go on to the Olympics now, and they're just around the corner. And the Canadian men's roster is top of mind, especially considering the injuries, I guess, that are coming up with some of the players that have already been named. So, do you like the selections that they made so far? And Nick Suzuki, of course, from Montreal made it, got the invite. And who do you think of the players deserves a call up if there needs be, I guess?
Sam Bennett. Like, I was in shock that I just missed a little bit of your question there, Chris, but I think I got the gist of it. But Sam Bennett, I was shocked that he wasn't on that team, especially since what he did at Four Nations, what he did in the Stanley Cup final. Like, that blew my mind. So Bennett is without a doubt my first call up. Like, no brainer to me. That just makes everybody's life easier, because if you lose without him, there's going to be questions, and you could say that about Bedard as well. But I think Sam Bennett would be my first call up.
Yeah. All right. And did you like overall, like the way they built the team? Like, do you think the players that they chose were
I did.
The best? Yeah. Let's say. Yeah.
Oh, I always say the best team, and I think as Leafs fans, like I always said, the Leafs the last few years under Dubas to me was put together like a fantasy team. Fantasy teams will win you a fantasy league, but they won't win you a championship. And I think what Hockey Canada does, they put together the best team. And I think if we were in the business of putting together a fantasy team, Connor Bedard would be on the team, Matthew Schaefer would be on the team. But you got to look, okay, if we put Bedard on the team, how much top end ice time is he really going to get? Is he even going to be on the power play? So if he's not out there on the power play or playing top minutes, who's going to play the 10 minutes? Is he going to be good playing 10 minutes as a fourth line guy or a shutdown guy? So I think Canada did a good job of putting together the best team. Goaltending will be interesting. I think you probably have to give Binnington the nod in the first game. And if he keeps going, you go back to him. If not, it's Logan Thompson time. But I didn't lose any sleep on how the team was put together. The only big omission for me was Sam Bennett, but I guess Tom Wilson replaced him.
Yeah. All right.
One more quick question on the Olympics. Like, have you heard like anything in the background about how things are going over there? Like as far as the building of the arena and stuff?
I did. It's not too good. Construction going late and over budget is nothing new in the world. They have a great oval here in Moncton outside the Avenir Center. Maybe they can play the Olympics on that. It's a small ice service. It's just wild to me. Is there not another rink in Italy you can play in? Like, come on, there has to be other options. But I mean,
have plan B.
Happens. Yeah, they have to have a plan B. Exactly. Like, I mean, if the dressing rooms aren't going to be ready, you have to have a plan B. I mean, this is. They dropped the ball, but this doesn't seem to happen every 3 or 4 Olympics here. Oh man, nothing's ready yet. This isn't going to be ready. And I mean, I love Disney's idea. Just put them in Toronto and have a 4 Nations again. But it's run by the Olympics. It's not run by the NHL. So you get what you get, right? Yeah, you've ordered the food, and now you're waiting on the food. Is your food going to show up on time? Is your food going to be undercooked or overcooked? All the NHL is doing right now is waiting on the Olympic food to see what it comes up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess you are in Moncton right now for Hockey Day in Canada, right? So what?
I am. Look, I got my new.
Yeah.
Well, I got my new stick here. We're playing in the Alumni Celebrity Game tonight at the Avenir Center.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be like a few thousand people there, so that'll be highly embarrassing. So I think I'm not on Kevin BX's team, so he might line me up. Although he did just buy me lunch, so maybe he won't. And then
nice.
tomorrow, tomorrow Saturday, Ron takes the puck and just carries it around all day, and we try to get open. He gives us the odd pass, but Ron goes all day long, and we got just a ton of hockey games for everybody to enjoy. And my favorite thing about this is we get to do it every year, and you get to see a different part of the country, and you get to meet a ton of people. So we met a ton of great people so far. It's been a lot of fun.
And of course, like you've said, it's the stories, right? So, you're going to tell some great stories. How many of these have you done now?
I think this would probably be my 8th or 9th. I'd be guessing, maybe more. But yeah, great stories like Gardner McDougall. I still can't believe he's never been hired to be a head coach in the NHL, but he's the head coach of the Moncton Wildcats. He won, I want to say 8 or 9 national titles at the University of New Brunswick. He's won here with Moncton. He's got Memorial Cup rings. It's just, he's such a motivational guy. Like if I could pick somebody to coach everybody, it's everyone at some point in their life, I'd want to play for Gardner McDougall. Like it's just amazing. And his son's the GM here. So we have a nice feature on the father-son, and we're talking to a lot of guys who came through Moncton. Yeah, Brad Marchand started his major junior career. Connor Garland was here, Keith Yandel. So yeah, we're just trying to shine a light on a different part of the country, which is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. Ken, thank you so much for being our guest today. We look forward to hearing some of those stories tomorrow and in many, many more books to come. Everybody, you can catch Ken co-anchoring the Sportsnet Central Primetime Desk every evening, except probably not this one.
God, not tonight.
No. Keeping us up to date on all the latest sports news, and you can find his books for purchase online or at your favorite bookstore. Don't forget to pick up his latest, the next one, and we'll have a link to that in our show notes so you can go ahead and grab your own copy. Thanks so much, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
Ladies, thanks a ton. I hope to see you at the alumni lunch, and thank you for coming up and introducing yourselves. And I know we said we'd do this, so I'm glad to finally do it. And anytime I'm in Moncton, I'm happy to do the pod, and anytime I'm home, I'm happy to do it as well.
Awesome. We will definitely call you again for another show because this is great and you have so many stories. So thanks so much.
And as my father would say, I never shut up. So it's easy to feel confident.
All right. Hey. Have a good weekend and enjoy the Hockey Day in Canada.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Ken for coming on the show. It was great to get his insights. He's so fun. He's a funny guy. And I guess a couple of things that I picked out from our conversation was the first one was your question about Jerry McNamara and talking to Ken about McNamara and his trip to Sweden in 1972 to scout for the Leafs, and of course getting Boreas Alming and Inga Hammerstrom to come over, and you just understood how different the game was back then. Like there was absolutely, like the way he said, there was absolutely nobody over there in Europe. It was just him, right, in Sweden, and you just understood a lot. The way he described it was so good, and even in the book too. That's something that I love talking about and getting his perspective on it because he interviewed Jerry McNamara for that, and I also like the way he basically agreed with us that the NHL's financial success is heavily dependent on the original 6 teams doing well. So because there's 32 teams, and I don't know, a lot of them wouldn't be in this league if it wasn't for the original 6 teams. The gate money basically that we get, and all the and with all the stuff like the Leaf gear and everything that people buy, the merchandise, like those teams in Utah and I don't know where else, in Florida and Tampa, and like they wouldn't be around without us basically. So and it's and we also talked with him about it's so sad though that they don't recognize what it could do for the league if they put a little bit more time and attention into these Canadian franchises, especially like the Leafs and the Canadiens, because it's been so long since both of our franchises have been great at the same time. And, the way they've configured the playoffs and everything, like we'll never meet them in a final. And that could, that what they don't understand, and what we know from even doing this show, is that there are fans of these franchises, original 6 franchises, especially Montreal and Toronto, all around the world. Right. And I think they wrongfully assume that if, one of these teams are in the finals, that people are not going to watch from the States. That's not true. There are Leaf fans throughout the U.S. We know that because a huge part of our demographic are from there. Our audience, we have a big part of it.
I'm sure that's the same for the Montreal Canadiens, and it's probably the same for the Edmonton Oilers or whatever. So it's they're the people who love hockey. They are everywhere, and people who love hockey, they know the history of this league. So I think that is a gross miscalculation on the league's part to think that they have to pour all their time and attention into these, newer franchises that came into the league, after 67 and beyond.
Yeah. And they're not being flexible.
Don't give enough love to us.
Yeah. And the whole playoff format too is another thing that is insane. But anyways, that's for another show. The other thing that I found interesting, because he's so passionate the way he talks, and I love that, and for that he's like a perfect guest for our show, is his thoughts on the pressure playing in Toronto. And I just love how he said it's just bunk. And it is. So yes, is the volume of the amount of people that come and talk to you and ask questions? Yes. Is it annoying maybe to hear the same question asked to you 1,000 times because so many people want to hear your answer? Probably. But is that pressure? I don't know. And some players can take it, others can't, basically.
Yeah, so that's true. Like it's not for everyone, and that's truly the case. But I agree with him on that. I don't think that there is more pressure here than anywhere else.
So fans, definitely worth a read to go out and get the book, the next one, about hockey scouts, remote rinks, and hidden talent. And a lot of great stories there about the life of a scout in hockey. And it's a really good read. So definitely worth going
Ken,
there.
He's a great storyteller. Yeah. And you could tell that, in us talking to him, how much he loves to tell stories about hockey, which is his passion for sure.
All right, so we're heading into the final stretch of games before a 3-week Olympic break. And for the Leafs, it's going to start with a 4-game homestand. First game is going to be a big one versus the Detroit Red Wings. That one is going to be a big one, followed by another big game versus the Vegas Golden Knights and the return of our friend, well, maybe not Sill's friend, but I don't even know if it's my friend, Mitch Marner, to face his former team. So that'll be an interesting night, and we'll be there, of course. So you'll be seeing us on our some social media and on YouTube. Yes, definitely check it out on YouTube, our videos. Then the Leafs have a rare Sunday afternoon game, which is the next generation game, I guess, for young kids on January 25th versus the Colorado Avalanche.
It's a pretty good opponent for that.
Yeah, it is. So the kids will get a good show with Nathan. Well, hopefully not. Anyways.
Not too good a show.
I won't go any further with that.
And then next up is another big divisional game versus the Buffalo Sabres, who are really putting it together now. And then on this night, the Leafs are going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Darryl Sittler's 10-point game, which happened on February 7th, 1976. Then the Leafs hit the road for a Western trip starting Thursday, January 29th versus Seattle. And then they travel to Vancouver for a Hockey Night in Canada night special versus the Canucks. The road trip's going to end with a back-to-back on February 2nd versus the Flames and February 3rd versus the Oilers. And then people are going to go on a plane for the margaritas or take a flight to Italy.
Then everybody can take a breath, right? And
yes.
Yeah, and relax or go and play more hockey over in Milan. But the big ones are those divisional games, Detroit and Buffalo. I mean, we gotta win as many as we can, anyways. Get points.
Have to, because like we've seen, like our record has been pretty good over this last stretch, like for the most part, and we are not budging. Like even after that win versus the Winnipeg Jets, we're tied with the team ahead of us, and we're still outside of the wild card. So we could definitely have to put together these points and fast. So.
All right. So a reminder to leave us your thoughts or questions and leave it to the ladies. We're gonna get in one more just before the Olympic break. So definitely do that for us. Our social media handle is at LTL1917. And the link to Leave It to the Ladies is available on all of our social media profile pages and in the show notes of all of our episodes. You can find the show notes by scrolling down the episode page on the app you're using to listen to our show. Also, hit that follow button on Apple and Spotify or wherever you're listening to our podcast, and we'll have you up to date on the Leafs throughout the season. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, if I can get that out. And you can also listen to our show on the Believe Network at Believe.com, BLEAV.com.
All right. Another way to help us out is by visiting our Ko-fi page at Ko-fi.com. You can follow us there. And if you choose to, you can support us by buying us a coffee, just like Lisa and JB recently did. And we want to thank them so much for supporting us. We are very grateful to them. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and make it even better for you. You can find the link to our Ko-fi page in our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
And as always, thank you to our healthcare workers and first responders for all that they do.
And we thank you, as always, for listening and watching Ladies Talkin' Leafs. Till next time, go Leafs, go!
Do you believe?